When you agreed to do this piece with Chamber Dance Project, did you have any idea what it was going to be?
I always know how a piece starts, and that's it. I listened to the music in the morning. I thought, oh, well, this could be this moment, this could be two women together. And I came in and nothing of all the ideas I came up with in the morning were good enough in reality. I mean, your ideas are just not as good as what, reality gives you sometimes. So I just feed off what happens and I follow my intuition. And as I get older, and more seasoned choreographer, I trust more and more that my intuition is right as opposed to what I prepared that morning over coffee. So no, I really only know, I see one image and I trust that this image should be enough for the entire day.
So does that, I guess, circular imagery, does that come up more in the movement of the dancers too, or just is it represented in the conversation?
It is represented in the conversation. Of course, I just looked up Round Table because I was looking for a title, and it seemed that the Round Table dates from the time of King Arthur. And he came up with that round table where he would congregate with his knights. And the fact that there is no head at the table implies that there's, it's equal partners talking. And so somebody told me that was the beginning of democracy. And so for me it was, the fact that I wanted an equal conversation between the men and the women and have the same costumes for all of them felt, right, that it was actually a round table somewhere, intuitively I could feel that made them equal. So the piece is about a discussion that either they ripple off each other or they confront each other or they come to a status quo, but they're stuck at that table and nobody wins. And nobody loses.
How long does it take for you to create a dance?
I'm fast. I'm known to be a choreographer that can, make fast decisions. It depends, when it's a narrative ballet, when it's a group piece of 20 dancers, or when it's a solo duet. It depends on the flow. It depends if people are injured or, ill at home and it stops the flow. But I usually make work quite fast, but fast as I grow older, just because I trust my intuition, and also because there's not the fear of it has to be a good piece, because otherwise my career stops here. And that's what you have when you're a young choreographer. Every piece has to be the masterpiece, because otherwise they're never going to ask you back. And now it's a one work into a body of work. And then later I will see what that work means into the body of work. So, maybe this piece of chamber dance will be the seed of a bigger idea that I will use in 5 years. So yes, I make work much faster now out of an intuitive...
Trusting that intuition, yeah. Do you ever look back at works and, wish you could change something, or do you just think...
For me, a piece of art is never finished, and that's because as life and time passes, you change, develop as an artist, as a choreographer, and you look at your, at least I look at my work with a lot of criticism, and you look at your younger self, and sometimes you find it cute, interesting. Suddenly that whole period of your life comes back, and that's why you understand the choices you made, and you think that it should stay what it is, as in your archive. And sometimes you think, well, it's a missed opportunity if you don't work at it. So this piece for chamber dance in 5 years, I might think, maybe we could add something, but usually you simplify things.
The creative process for you, does it normally start in the same place, or?
No, sometimes I have an idea of a theme, and then I look for music that goes to the theme, and sometimes it's the music, and for this time it was the music, and it felt like the music has a few motifs that comes back, so it's very circular. And we were talking about the amount of dancers, and she was looking for dancers. So in the end, it was like, you will have 4 dancers. And I wanted to have 2 women and 2 men, and I wanted to have a conversation between equals and not have, the women being ladylike in skirts or stuff like that. So I knew that I wanted to start with a circle. And as I walked into the studios of the Washington Ballet, I saw this beautiful round white table where they normally have lunch, and I thought, well, let's use that table to generate material, and then we'll get rid of the table. But then half an hour into the rehearsal, I thought, oh, actually, Diane, I think I'm going to keep the table.
Why do you choose dance as your medium for art?
I think I'm not good with words. I speak 4 languages, and so it's very rich to speak that many languages, but at the same time, it's sometimes I cannot come up with, eloquence, and with dance I feel that I don't make mistakes in what I want to say. And of course, choreography is, I don't dance. I have to, give it to someone else, and they have to say it, and sometimes they don't exactly say it the way I would say it, and it's that game of how much do you give in to, well, do it your way or my way. But it's universal, movement and music is universal, and having this piece performed in Washington will have a different effect than having it performed in Zimbabwe or in Australia. But yeah, interestingly, every culture finds a way to understand the piece.
What inspired you to be a choreographer, to make the transition from being a dancer to a choreographer? Was there somebody specific that inspired you? Or?
Yeah. So I never transitioned. I started dancing when I was 8 years old, and I went to the professional dance school at the academy at 11 years old, and it was the Christmas break, and my teacher came in, and we all ran to the bar because we all had our favorite spot at the bar, because one mirror was making you looking fat and the other one was making you look, so we were running at the bar, and the teacher said, no, today I'm gonna have coffee for an hour, and I'll leave you here, and 2 by 2 with the pianist you'll make a dance on this 1 minute of music, and I'll come back in an hour, and then we'll present those pieces. So we were 16 dancers, so we had 8 versions of that 1 minute. And I remember that hour just flew by like this, and I thought, if I could do this the rest of my life, I would be the most happy person on earth. And so since the age of 11, whenever there's a studio available or my friends are available and I had a piece of music, I would just tinker, and it's like playing, it's a hobby. I didn't know it was a job. I didn't even, the word choreography was really hard at the age of 11. And so I always did it as, in my teens and as a young dancer. And at some point, when I was around 28, 29, I started feeling trapped as a dancer. I felt like I wasn't really expressing fully what I wanted to say, because I'm quite an expressive person. I have an opinion about everything. And so I thought, you know what, let's go for it and let's become a choreographer. And I gave myself 5 years, and I thought, if I don't make it, then I'd like to go to the film school. And I made it. People wanted to see my work, and they paid me for it. So it was always there when I was a dancer. It's just a very latent kind of feeling, and at some point it just exploded.
What do you think is the most rewarding aspect of being a choreographer, or
For me, the most rewarding aspect of being a choreographer is when I see my work that I'm not there anymore. That it feels like these 4 dancers have come up with the piece by themselves, and that it's all fluid and organic, and it makes sense, as opposed to look at the dance and think, oh my god, oh look, that's great, and you squeeze yourself because it's just working. I don't know, there's a difference between just a dance, or it's just a bunch of friends who came up with this piece. So when I disappear, that's when I'm happy. And that's also, a sad moment, because that's the moment I feel that I have to leave. because they don't need me anymore, because they give each other corrections, or that moment and I'm like, okay, I stay out of this. And that's, yeah, so it's both, and happiness and very sad, that moment.
Do you, I guess, do you care what people think of your work, or do you care more what you think of your work?
We always care what people think of us, and definitely of our work. I'm a choreographer that is dealing with a lot of bad reviews. I don't have this karma that everybody praises my work, so I had to learn to deal with bad criticism. But I've learned that there's always going to be someone who hates it. So and there's always going to be that review that's just going to crush your ego and your feelings, and you're going to think that you have to stop choreographing right now. But the only thing between the reviewer and me is that I get to enjoy 2 weeks in the studio with dancers, and they cannot take that away from me. They can crush the work and the result of it, but it's only, now for change, it's only 12 minutes as opposed to the 36 hours I had. So I cherish more the work process than presenting the work. And yeah, that is my success. If that work process was fulfilling, and I feel like we became a team, and we are proud of what we're presenting, then I can go. And I know that even though there's a bad criticism, the dancer will, fight for the piece, and they will, every night find that fire. No, but we had this amazing process, so we're gonna share that, whatever you think. So I cannot control the reviewers, but I can control how I feel about them. And sometimes they're right. But I try not to read reviews right after the premiere is still fresh, but maybe a week after, or maybe a year after I run into my archive, read it, and think, yeah, maybe it wasn't good. Because I think I still have to develop. I mean, as an artist, you're not completely made at 20, and you need, it's, even among your friends, it's very hard to have people that are honest, and honestly are going to say what they think. They're proud that you have a premiere, so congratulations, but they don't really look the way of, you can make some progress, or why this choice, and so, reviewers, they're not your friends, so they're mostly honest, and they have their own, opinion and politics and all of that. So I do appreciate sometimes a bad review, because it does kick my butt. And question myself and think, okay, let's not make this mistake again, or let's try it slightly differently.